lost weight only to gain it right back after returning to your routine? Did your diet work for someone else but not you? Rockin' That ID Life helps you understand your genetic makeup to find a lifestyle that fits your needs. Together, you and RockinThatIDLife.com can focus on your health and meet your goals today. That's RockinThatIDLife.com.
Center Ice Brewery is a proud sponsor of Let's Go Blues Radio. If you haven't heard, Center Ice Brewery beer is now exclusively available at beer stores around town, so make sure you pick some up on your next milk and eggs run. That's Center Ice Brewery. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome to Season 10, Episode 25 of Let's Go Blues Radio. This is the fully vaccinated, often imitated, but never duplicated. We are who you thought we were. That's why you took the damn field. We are who you thought we were, and you let us off the hook. The original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by RockinThatIDLife.com, the home of getting yourself where you want to be physically, and by CenterIceBrewery.com, St. Louis's wonderfully crafted hockey-themed beer found at local grocery stores and liquor stores in the St. Louis area. We're broadcasting live on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. This is franchise episode number 343 all-time. I am Kurt Day, and I'm joined by Bill Ponder and Jeff Price, and we'll be breaking down tonight's game between the Blues and Rangers. There is a Jeff Price. You did not know that.
There is a Jeff Price. Yeah.
Another member of the goalie union.
Yes, there you go. So we break it down the game tonight between the Blues and Rangers, as well as a multitude of other things going on in the hockey world. Don't forget to find us on every social media platform, including Friendster. We are dual live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. So hello to the live audience, and thanks for joining us. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Licking the wounds after a roller coaster of a game, I think.
Yeah, about the same. Doesn't help my mood that I worked all the way through that game. So yeah, I'm angry. I'm upset. But I'm not going to leave it all out here on the podcast. I'll say my piece.
I was at. This is going to sound so ridiculous, and it's going to sound ridiculous. I was more mad about the end of this game than I was the Montreal game. Maybe it's just because Montreal was like lulling me to sleep, and I was just like, oh, whatever, they lost. Like, I don't know. Tonight, it was like, I felt like they had it in the bag, and they made some terrible plays in the third period that led to a good Rangers team taking advantage. So it's not as maddening as the Montreal loss, I guess. But for whatever reason, for me, it struck a chord with me tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there. I'm disappointed in the loss. Obviously, I'm not, angry about it. Like after, the game against Montreal or New Jersey, the Rangers are a much better team in their building. They had lost a couple games in a row. So last one to Vancouver. So they're looking to bounce back. I thought the Blues played a good game for first two periods. I don't know. The third
I thought they dominated play for a lot of the game.
Yeah, I was just waiting for that first goal to come through, and then I was, they should be okay, and that happened, and then all of a sudden in the third period, kind of fell apart.
Yeah, we'll break down the game a little bit more detail, but for me it was. I don't even want to say I'm mad at the team or anything. It was just kind of again, maybe it's just because the game was more exciting than that Montreal game, but I found myself being a little more angry, a few more curse words leaving my mouth when the Blues lost this one. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit. Yeah, it's a great game. Great game.
Yeah, great game, but there was definitely yelling. Yelling at the TV.
Yes, there was.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a little bit of a change tonight, in case you didn't notice. I am your host tonight. There was some talk that Kurt might not be able to make seeing the game live, so he thought, well, I might not be able to make the show. So we had already kind of pivoted and decided I'd take the lead tonight. So that's why you're going to hear my voice leading things off. So sorry to those of you who love to hear Kurt Price's voice when you first open the show.
And there are at least 2 or 3.
Well, your mother and your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And me.
Yeah. And you.
Mm-hmm.
So 3.
Yeah. 3. Yep. You know, poor Bill. He's never been able to lead the show off before. One of these days we should make him.
That will be an epic show. Watch me stumble all over the, often vaccinated, never duplicated intro that you guys pull off seamlessly. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this.
That's true. That's a couple comments we'll get to real quick. Ken Morris, our friend over in Nova Scotia, says Jeff and Kurt switched wings, centered by Mr. Day. So how do you feel about playing center, Bill? Is that a position you've ever played before?
It is, but I'm nowhere near the face-off artiste as Mr. Price. But I think I did fill in once or twice. He got booted from a draw.
Oh, I can't remember getting booted, but I'm sure it happened.
Keith Price, Bill leading a show. Bill leading a show is like Ringo Starr singing.
No.
So you're the Ringo of this trio, apparently.
This is the Yellow Submarine show.
I was gonna go Octopus's Garden.
Oh, that's also
that's one of my favorite. Trade secret. That's one of my favorite Beatles fan trolls. I love Octopus's Garden.
In the shade.
One of my favorite. I don't know why this is not relevant at all, but one of my favorite Simpsons lines was when Lisa was going to. It was like a futuristic episode. She was going to marry a British guy, and Homer was talking to the British guy's dad, and he's like, "You know what movie I love? Octopussy. I must have seen that movie twice." So official beers of episode number 343. Oh, this is going to be weird because I'm going to be leading off. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. You can find me over at jponder94. Kurt Price is at cprice12, and Bill Day is at Billy Blue Note 33. So for me, because we have to lead off because that's what we've done all season, the Blues are having a good year. So I'm just going to keep talking. Urban Underdog, which is a great American lager from Urban Chestnut. The wife
Lager
and I were
for the Lapers.
What's that?
It's Lager for the Lapers.
Oh, yes, Lager, of course. The wife and I were out at a restaurant, and I told her to order a beer for me, and I went to the bathroom, and she ordered me an Urban Underdog, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you knew I like that." And she goes, "Well, I figured you never buy it at home, but when we go out, you always get it." And I'm like, "That is true. Why do I do that?" So I thought I'm specifically going to Friar Tuck to pick up some Urban Underdog. So that's what I'm drinking tonight.
So you're drinking a lager, and which reminds me of a Friends episode that I saw, I believe, yesterday. It's the one where Paul Rudd is on the show, and he goes over and hangs out with Ross one evening, and they're bored to death. And Paul Rudd brings over beer, and I think he goes, "Oh," and he goes, "Would you like a beer?" "Oh, yes." And he goes, "Well, it's not a beer; it's a lager." And Ross is like, "What's the difference?" And Paul Rudd goes, "I don't know." And I'm like, a lager is beer.
Yeah. Yep.
It's weird to me. And they had a whole conversation about how what's the definition of a lager? And I'm like, okay, but it's still beer.
They said something like, is lager beer, or is it separate, or something like that? I remember that conversation and just laughing at it because I'm like, come on, guys.
And I was like, God, it's weird. Okay. Bill is
so up. This would be Bill. Right? Yes, Bill.
Oh, my turn, huh? All right, so mine is fresh batch cinnamon roll pastry stout from Toppling Goliath. It's really, really thick and very cinnamony. It's a sipper. it's not something that I'm not going to have any more beer than this tonight because it's going to take a while. It's good, but yeah, a lot going on.
You held that can up to the camera, and I thought it was a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air can. It just had that font look of it,
right? And
urban,
that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, is it okay? The urban spray
Oh
paint
yeah,
stuff?
yeah, I see that. Nice.
Graffiti.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going for?
That's the term I was looking for, right?
Yeah.
Far be it for me to
proper
identify use the proper nomenclature for things. Right. Yeah. I don't have a beer. I have a beverage though. I have an RC Coca-Cola.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's RC on the rocks.
Very nice.
So I was up there drinking it while I
RC
was watching the game and had to rush down here to jump on to make the show not too late. And I didn't grab a beer, so I've got my RC Coca-Cola.
Why don't you go get yourself a beer? Bill and I can handle some Today in Blues history.
It's okay. That's all right.
All right.
I'm good.
This show
I got a beer fridge right behind me. If I want to, I could grab one. But
this show is much better to listen to when you've been drinking.
I haven't had a sugar high in a while. Maybe that'll be better.
Oh, let me know how that goes.
There you go.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Mm-hmm.
From the movie Waiting. Ooh, that does sound good. Have you seen the movie Waiting?
Yes, of course. Okay. I'm a former server.
Of course.
I saw this. I saw that movie. It was like a year after I quit serving for about 2 years, and man, that related way too much. Way too much.
Terrifyingly accurate.
Yeah.
Not so much the balls in the kitchen, but other stuff. Yeah, a lot of it with
we should make our own
customers and stuff.
We should make our own penis showing game.
Right. Yeah, get kicked off YouTube.
Yeah, that's the stuff. Now, I never mess with anyone's food, but I will say I did see people mess with other people's food a lot.
Did either.
Yeah.
Oh, I never did either, but I did see somebody was being a complete d-hole in the in the dining area, and I saw a busboy do something to a glass before he gave them their water. So
yeah,
I was like, "Oh, dude, don't." He did.
Yeah, and if you ever send something back because you feel like it's too cold, it's literally going straight into the microwave. That's all they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, if your steak is too cold and it comes back 30 seconds later, it's like, yeah,
yep, there's something there. So today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues history account, for today, March 2nd, 2022, in 1976, Barclay Plager steps down as the captain. Red Berenson named the captain of the St. Louis Blues. And if you were to check out our friend STL Blues history, he had a nice little article, I guess, that was from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch included. One of the things that he said was, this was Mr. Plager talking, "I have been proud to be captain of the Blues, but I believe there are others on the team who right now could do a better job and supply more leadership. I've been having enough troubles on my own lately and don't feel I can carry out my duties as captain as well as I should when I'm worrying about my own performance so much."
If only Dallas Drake would have done that.
Yes, after game 1.
You don't really hear about this. I mean, this is it seems like a rare thing. Mm-hmm. It's almost on par with, not to the same degree, but when Stan Musial had an off season, he gave back part of his money that he earned that season because he didn't feel he lived up to his contract. So he returned a portion of it, something like 20% or something. And that's unheard of and probably wouldn't be allowed today.
No.
In baseball.
Collective bargaining agreement would completely not allow that.
But there's nothing stopping a player from writing the owner a check either. I mean, really.
Right?
I mean, it couldn't be. I mean, it's a gift.
Yeah, probably conflict of interest in IRS rules and stuff like that, but
yeah, but I mean, you get taxed on it, right? It's a gift of over $25,000 or whatever the rule is. But other than that, whatever. So
Yep.
I don't know.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, we see the C taken away from captains. I remember Mike Modano, Brendan Morrow, that happening, but a guy flat out stepping down as captain. That's kind of unheard of.
Yeah. No, stuff is not like it used to be.
No. So
Definitely not.
my phone is ringing. Let me turn that off. Oops. Boy, what a terrible podcast this is. March 2nd, 1991, Brett Hull became only the third NHL player to score 70 goals in back-to-back seasons in a 4-4 tie versus the Philadelphia Flyers. There's a video clip of the tweet that has the 70th goal and also a goal scored by Craig Berube, who's Blues head coach, in case you didn't know.
Wait, Craig Chief? He played hockey?
The Chief, yes.
Mm.
He's resilient. March 2nd, 1992, Curtis Joseph set the St. Louis Blues record with 26 saves in the third period. 26 saves in the third period. You heard that correctly. Brett Hull recorded a hat trick and became only the second Blues player with 100 points in 3 straight seasons in the St. Louis Blues 5-3 win over the Vancouver Canucks. Included in this tweet was a couple newspaper clippings. Joseph Says Blues was basically the header of the story, which is crazy, right? Like, can you imagine a team? A guy gets a hat trick now, scores 100 points in the game, like his 100th point, but that's not even the headline of the game. That's nuts. That just goes to show you how good Curtis Joseph was at his prime.
Yeah, and this is back in the early 90s, where 100 points scorers were, there was a 10 of them, in the league. So
right, commonplace, lots more scoring. So having a goalie post that many saves in a game would have been insane. You expect him to give up maybe 5-6 goals in that, but
yeah,
love Joseph.
Great game.
Man.
Yeah,
love Joseph.
Just so much fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember when we had good goalies on this team?
I know.
Oh wait.
God, I wish they just trade them both.
Yeah.
Hey,
trade
speaking of good goalies,
Chucky Sideburns, nice. He's sporting the blue Chucky Sideburns shirt.
Yeah, you can get it over at the Springfield Thunderbird store. They've got the pretty sweet Chucky Sideburns shirt. I pre-ordered it the day it went up. I was like, "Yep, I want that." Made sure I got it. But I think that I read they have more. So, yeah, if you haven't seen it, if you're on the podcast, tune in right now.
If you haven't seen it, here it is. Podcast listeners can't see it.
Yep, too bad. Too bad.
Still can't see it.
That's why you want to watch us.
You're decked out in quite the powder blue.
Yeah, well, this is one of the only hat I bought this season, and I love this one. It's the old school Blues logo. So yeah, quite the powder blue. I was going to wear a normal shirt, but I thought, no, I got to wear Chucky Sideburns.
I mean, you just got it. You got to.
Yeah.
March. Oh, go ahead, Bill. What do you got? You got a Chucky Sideburns comment?
Oh, I was just going to say that's beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Got to show off Chucky Sideburns.
Mm-hmm. I love this shirt. I almost ordered a couple of them just because I thought it was such a cool look. March 2nd, 1999, Kelly Chase scored 2 goals in 33 seconds and had an assist. Only multi-goal and second 3-point game in the NHL for Chase. Blues won that one 5-1 over the Nashville Predators, which that was their inaugural season. That was probably like the third or fourth time the Blues played. No offense to Kelly Chase, but that just goes to show you how bad those Predators probably were that first season.
That just shows to go, yeah. I wonder if he 1999. I'm trying to think back. Did we have any Russian teammates? Did he have any Russian teammates on that team? Just
he's already going there. He's going there.
Yuri
Himlev.
I didn't make that bet. Someone else did. He did.
Was it Yuri? Prokhorov.
99. Prokhorov? No, that's after Prokhorov.
No, I know.
No.
This is
99. Himlev was what? That was
96
year too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So this
no.
is March. This is the second half of the season. So this is 99. This is 98, 99. So if I look up that roster, we got Bartechko.
No, he's Slovakian.
No,
Slovakia.
he is. You're right. He is. I
Friend
don't
of the
see any
show.
Russians. No Russians on that team.
Good. That's the way it should be. Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
I can't wait. Can't wait for that.
March 2nd, 2000, Pavel Demitra scored his 100th career goal, and Lubos Partechko, friend of Let's Go Blues Radio, scored 2 goals as the St. Louis Blues tied an NHL record with their 10th straight road win in a 5-2 victory over who? That's right, folks, the Atlanta Thrashers.
I blame Ken Wilson for me not being sure how to pronounce his last name. Bartechko.
Bartechko and Hesht were ones that took a while for the broadcast crew to pick up
Yoke
on.
And Hecht.
Yeah.
Hecht.
Yoke
Hesht.
and Hecht.
Yeah. It's like, good Lord. Talk to the players and figure it out.
Figure it out. Friend of the show, Ken Wilson.
Friend of the show, Ken Wilson.
And talk to the players before the game. And,
hey,
do what you're supposed to do.
Right. So you know how to pronounce players' names. Whatever.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
I love Ken Wilson. If there were ever a love-hate relationship with a broadcaster, I think Ken Wilson's it for me. Love the guy. Also, God damn it, Ken Wilson. So weird.
I get it. Well, folks, we'll be talking about the just played Blues game between the Blues and Rangers in Madison Square Garden. But first, let's hear from our friends over at RockinThatIDLife.com. You don't live your life like the guy you see at the gym powerlifting 7 days a week. You also don't live it like the cycling class instructor or the vegan who gets her steps every day. So why go to the vitamin store and try the same stuff they're using and hope it meets your needs? Newsflash, it doesn't. RockinThatIDLife.com is here to help you better understand how you respond to food and exercise. Their supplements are developed to make sure you're using quality products you can trust to achieve the results that are meaningful to you. Is your goal to improve overall energy, achieve deeper sleep, lose or gain weight? The answer to all of those options? Rockin' That ID Life can help. Our friend Dustin at RockinThatIDLife.com is here to help you do life better and achieve your goals, not someone else's. Get started today by visiting RockinThatIDLife.com or emailing Dustin at RockinThatIDLife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you to receive 10% off your order. That's RockinThatIDLife.com and start your betterment journey today. We got some comments I know going here in the YouTube chat. I forgot to mention to you fine gentlemen that I do not have Facebook pulled up. So if one of you wants to maybe pull that up and see if we have any friends that are chatting over there.
All this damn computer will pull up as Friendster for me. I got to work on something here.
Oh, Friendster, man. It just keeps getting us.
I mean, okay, I can open up Friendster in Google, and I can open up MySpace on Netscape Navigator. Other than that, I'm kind of screwed.
Okay, well, you could probably pull up something else in Alta Vista as well.
Alta Vista.
So don't forget that.
Let me use Dogpod to find that.
And you could try Ask Jeeves too.
Ask Jeeves. Oh God, I never liked Ask Jeeves, even when it was like in its heyday. Hated it. Always hated it.
Yeah, not a fan either.
Yeah. Dogpile was the way to go.
What was the browser you had to pay for? Opera. You could pay for it. You can get it for free, but it was encouraged to donate, I guess. Yeah. Is Opera still a thing? Is that a browser, Opera? Sure it is.
Ken Morris says Kurt's drinking RC Cola straight. That's right. He's a madman, folks.
It's on the rock. I mean, straight, yeah. Not neat, not up. It's on the rocks. RC Coca-Cola. Say it right. RC Coca-Cola.
Matt Harris says, Jeff out here bullying the audio listeners. Yeah, that's right. That's why you need to tune in, folks. Not only do you get to look at 3 attractive dudes and their great backgrounds, but you get to see awesome attire that we wear too.
Yep.
It's great stuff. Let's see. Whoa, there's a lot of Putin talk going on. I don't know if we want to mention any of that. Let's see. Okay.
For a specific part of the show, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we are going to get to that a little later.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's say that. Yeah.
But I do like what Ken Morris says. Putin plays hockey. He once scored 7 or 8 goals in a scrimmage with Russian pros. Did you watch the clips from that, Ken Morris?
Is he joking? Because I mean,
no,
he's got
it was
joking,
a lot.
Right?
It happened.
No.
It happened,
I know it happened,
but
but I'm not sure. Does he understand that everyone let him score? He looked like a a beer leaguer out there.
If a defenseman were to step up on him on accident and like run his shoulder into his head, do you think he's instantly sniped on the ice, or do you think they at least wait until the end of the game?
I'm not going to pretend to understand Putin's world over there. Probably, I don't know.
Yeah. One of my favorite things in the last week was somebody posted he was doing a victory lap. There's video of him doing a victory lap, and there was carpet laid out by the penalty box, and he skated right onto it and fell on his face.
Yep.
Oh,
he doesn't
that's
like
a good
that
one.
video being out there. Find it. It's lovely.
And I remember when that came out, people were literally saying like, yeah, whoever laid that carpet out, they're not with us anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. And whoever posted that video to the internet, they're not with us here anymore.
Yeah, right.
Be careful if you like this video, you might not be with us anymore.
Yeah, right. All right. So the big point of tonight's show is today's really big shoe is Blues and Rangers played tonight in Madison Square Garden. So the last time the Blues were in New York, that was right when the pandemic was starting to hit.
New York City.
New York City. They were in New York to play the Rangers on March 3rd, 2020, so 2 years ago tomorrow. Then flew to Anaheim for what would be the last game of the regular season of that year. And again, we've referenced this before, but people talk about, the Blues, they haven't been good since the Cup year, and Binnington wasn't great the year after the Cup win, and they were in first place in the West when this happened. So they were still playing great hockey at this point.
I think it's when you hear someone rattle off that kind of comment, it's like, okay, I know where you stand on the hierarchy of intelligence level as far as like the conversation we're going to have hockey wise, because you're going off I don't know what you're going off of, like probably social media comments from people, I guess. So
Robert Bortuzzo played in his 350th game as a Blue. So this is coming off, which we will talk about just because it's fun to talk about how the Blues beat the Blackhawks. We'll get into that game in a little bit. We wanted to get into this one first. So coming off this, there was a little bit of question who would be in net for this game. Jordan Binnington has been great in his past 2 starts, getting wins against Philadelphia and Chicago. And, obviously Husso's been just fine lately as well. So going into this game, guys, who did you think was going to get the start?
I thought it was going to be Husso. And
I was going
to say the reason why I thought so is because, he and Shesterkin are kind of like the darlings of the goalie world right now, outside of Andrei Vasilevsky, right? And Vasilevsky's a known quantity, but the seasons that Shesterkin and Husso are putting up are insane. So I was hoping to see a head-to-head duel. I did not expect to see this many goals scored on them, but that's who I expected going into the game.
Same. I didn't know. I could have totally understood either way who Berube would have went with, but when it was announced as Husso was the starter, I was like, this is good. You got Shesterkin and Husso, 2 of the better goalies in the NHL this season so far, going head to head. Love it. Let's do it. I no issues with that whatsoever. I wouldn't have had an issue with Binnington and net either. I get it. It would have been the same kind of thing, but I think, it was said that they had this mapped out. It wasn't like a decision they were making on the fly. they had, they decided a number of games ago who was going to start in this game. So
Yeah, and it was already orchestrated, and I think just looking at even just coming out of the break, even if it was mapped out that much, which I doubt it was, you're giving Husso this game because of the struggles Binnington had, and you're letting Binnington get the start against Chicago. I was even thinking he might get the start against Buffalo on Friday, but obviously that went to Husso as well. But yeah, I think this was the right call too. I agree. It's the first really good Blues opponent that we've seen even since coming out of break, really. And I was a little afraid about the pace of this game going in. I thought going in, I'm like, Blues have had some pretty shit opponents, and yeah, they've lost a couple games, but I thought, they're going to have to really ramp their game up a little bit to play the Rangers style. They're a big team. They like to hit, and they're also quick. But honestly, I thought coming out of the gate, I thought Blues played them, tip for tap, and things were looking good. But
I think the only,
go ahead.
well, I was going to say the only, I think it may have thrown a wrench in the works, maybe because of Binnington throwing a shutout last game. That's what I was going to say about that.
Yeah.
To alter the plan because hey, he just pitched a shutout, so we'll give him the start here in New York. That was the only, if they're going to veer from the plan, that would have done it, a shutout. But so apparently not. Anyway,
Alexa Dad, right? No. Sorry, Maxim Lapierre. No, wait, Ian Laperriere. Nope. Alexis Lafreniere scores at 8:55 of the first. The Rangers rushed in. Husso made a save. The puck goes back to the point. Reigning Norris defenseman winner Adam Fox put it back on net. Husso kicked out the rebound to the low slot, and Lafreniere dragged in the rebound. The only issue I had with this one was I thought Krug's body position was not good. He's trying to body up Lafreniere in front, which I get. And Krug's not a big lumbering defenseman, so he typically does a pretty good job with that considering his body size. But I feel like he gave him the entire other side of the net. You gotta body out. You gotta be able to keep your body in between the puck and the player. And I just thought with his position there, that just wasn't going to happen. And you're just hoping Husso can swallow that rebound, but unfortunately, that's not what happened.
The shot comes in, and Krug's kind of half turning to get out of the way of the shot or whatever, and loses Lafreniere. So I mean, and he kind of rolls off Krug, and then sweeps in the rebound. So I mean, I would have loved to have seen Krug time up, but it's yeah. I agree with you, Jeff. The only issue I had with that was Krug losing Lafreniere around the net. That's when the shot comes in, he spins away, and Lafreniere curls off Krug and is there for the rebound. So,
and we say that. Oh, go ahead, Bill.
I was going to say the problem I had with this one was actually we paid the price again for having Thomas and Tarasenko in the same unit in the defensive zone. Tarasenko just threw the puck up the boards, and Thomas they weren't in sync. Puck goes back to the point, and Fox does a good job, getting in position to take that shot. I thought it was very poor puck management by Tarasenko just to throw it over the boards and basically just created a turnover. But yeah, I agree with you guys in terms of the positioning, and it was Lafreniere was the number one pick, because he's a skilled player and he's got great hockey IQ, and he just outsmarted and outplayed Krug and Husso on that play.
Yeah, and it's a bang bang play. It's not like the puck was just sitting there and Krug had no idea where it was. I mean, it's off his pad and it's right back into the net because, like you said, Lafreniere is just so skilled. So it's kind of, I guess, in a way, being nitpicky about Krug's positioning because if the shot does come the other side, then that puck's not getting to Lafreniere at all. But just because of the shot placement and because of the kind of poor positioning by Krug, that's what leads to the goal. So It's a tough goal to give up, but it's a nice goal for the New York Rangers. They played that very well.
I just rewatched the goal, Bill. It was a good catch on that because Tarasenko just kind of throws it to the corner, and it's almost like he expects Thomas to peel up the boards, and he doesn't. And Thomas kind of peels towards the corner, and the puck just slides helplessly to the point, where then it's put on net. So yeah, that was a miscommunication there by Tarasenko and Thomas.
Looks like in the chat, Bill, J. Ben Hacked, who might be a new live listener, he says that play was on 91. He threw a blind pass up the boards. So he agrees with you.
I don't think it was a blind pass. I think it was a miscommunication between him and Thomas. He went to bank it off the boards and expected Thomas to curl the boards, and he didn't. So I think that it was just a miscommunication, which is, apples. It's splitting hairs there as far as what the reasoning was, but it was just a bad play.
Yeah, to me, it seems like they tend to be out of sync when they're in the defensive zone as to what's going to happen with the puck, and there are more, at least to the eye test. There seem to be more turnovers. I don't have the stats to back it up, but seem when they are in handling the puck in the defensive zone and they're both on the ice, that we do tend to have more miscommunication and just turnovers result. So
yeah, and
one of these days I'm going to have enough time to look at stats and back myself up, but that wasn't tonight.
Maybe not in a post-game show. That's kind of hard to do. Yeah, it's and I thought, after this goal, I thought the Blues responded well. They had some great opportunities. We're going to talk a little bit about Buchnevich, I'm sure. Bill and I kind of agreed on something before the show started. But I thought overall they came back. They played well. They were controlling the zone a lot. Little bit of overpassing, if you ask me. There was a lot of plays where it was, okay, the puck's on their stick and they're looking for the extra pass to put it in an empty net. But sometimes, like anyone who's played the game knows, if you're down 1-0, you're getting pressure in the zone. Sometimes just throw it on the net and good things will happen. So they weren't doing that. Oh, go ahead.
And I was just saying they pointed that on the national broadcast too. And I'm sitting there watching. I'm thinking, yeah, that's happening. But that's been happening all season with this. That's just the way they play. They pass a lot, and sometimes it results in pretty goals, and sometimes you're left being frustrated that they didn't take the shot when they had it, a good scoring chance. Now, if that pass gets through, and it results in a goal, that's obviously a good decision, duh. But seeing a play like, okay, so I was a passer when I played. Loved pass first mentality, but I also shot too. But I understand the logic where I got a good chance to score here, but there's a guy over there. If I can get it through, he's got an even better chance to score. And so you go with the better chance, even though it's a low percentage pass. Maybe I get the desire. It's a hard thing to pass up as a playmaker to see a better scoring chance, but it's a tough pass to get through. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's rough, and it's like hindsight being 2020. Oh, they didn't score there; they should have shot sooner, and which is true. It's just it's a rough situation for guys who like to make plays. So
yep. So in the second,
and
oh, go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to say it's one thing, we noticed that happening in the first period, and the announcers were calling it out. The Blues just making that one too many pass, and that's great. You have the rest of the game to learn, but I think what bit us in the third period to foreshadow things is that they didn't learn from it and kept trying to do it.
Yeah, agree.
But
and again, they've been doing all season. I think that's my take, is that it's just the way this team is. I don't think they're going to stop doing it. I mean, Berube's been critical about that too. Got to shoot more. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not now. It's not just the usual suspects either. It's not like O'Reilly and Thomas. They're the only guys that are guilty of it. It's Buchnevich. It's Tarasenko. It's
Buchnevich a lot.
Yeah,
it's Thomas and Buchnevich, the two guys I would single out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Buchnevich, the spotlight was on him tonight because
Yep.
he's back
Yeah.
in New York. And it was like it was almost like he just didn't want to shoot.
Well, he had that opportunity, which I wanted to talk about here with the second period. He had that breakaway, and Shesterkin made an unbelievable save. He tried to do like the kind of Forsberg move, the one-handed. I don't think he really had the room to try and pull that move off, but he did pull it off. And I think on a lot of goalies, that still sneaks through. But it went through his 5-hole, and then like as it's reaching his feet, Shesterkin kicks it out with his, I guess it was his left leg,
Yeah.
and keeps the score at 1-0. But yeah, that was, I thought when I saw him going on the breakaway, I'm like, okay, this is where Buchnevich shoves it down the Rangers' throat.
And that was
Yeah.
kind of a broken breakaway move too, because he was going for the reach out backhand tuck in move.
The
and
Forsberg.
Yeah, and it slid off his stick early and went through his legs, which almost worked out. Unless he was faking and doing that, but I doubt that was the case. You never know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
that would have been Datsukian if he
Yeah.
was faking there.
yes,
Agree.
And speaking of the Blues like shooting more, and they're second in the West in goals scored behind Colorado. So they don't they pass too much. They pass up good scoring opportunities a little too much, I think. But the thing is that they score a lot of goals still, and a result of that overpassing, maybe they're scoring more goals because of that. I'm just tossing it out there. Maybe they don't score as many goals if they don't look for that extra pass as much. Granted, it's frustrating to watch when you're looking for a goal, you need a goal, or you're down by 2 or whatever, and you're passing up good scoring chances, and a pass doesn't get through. But with that said, they're a plus 45, and they're second in the West in goals scored too. So they're not passing up too many scoring chances.
No, they're not. They still look great offensively. It's just every now and then you even feel for those Blues fans that are always yelling shoot at the games, because every now and then I'm doing it at home. I'm like, shoot the puck, damn it. Well, there was
Yeah,
that
I
one
know.
chance too in the second period. I can't remember who it was in front, where I thought he was holding it and trying to wait out Shesterkin, but the puck went off his stick. It actually went through Shesterkin's legs, and Zibanejad made that play right at the
Yeah.
goal line. I don't remember who that
Yeah.
was, but that whole time I'm yelling, shoot, why didn't he fucking shoot? But it wasn't until the replay I saw, oh, he did. And yeah, great play by Zibanejad to keep that out of the net.
And Shesterkin's been so good this season. You almost tell yourself, well, I've got a great scoring chance here, or a really good scoring chance and a good spot on the ice, but you know, I'm going to pass. I want the best possible scoring chance because this guy's going to stop me. And I mean, we need a better scoring chance than I have right here. So that could have creeped in their heads too, as far as getting the best possible chance to score to beat a guy who has been really, really good this season.
Yeah, that's how Chaminade always felt when they were facing Bill Day at CBC.
Overpassing.
You think I got to play Chaminade? That's funny.
I'm sorry. I bet when you were sitting on the bench with a baseball cap on.
That's more like it.
Were you wearing a baseball cap, Bill, or were you? I'm gonna guess you were not a baseball cap.
No.
Or was that even allowed? That wasn't allowed.
He was wearing a cowboy
It was
hat.
it was not allowed. It was,
I was gonna say probably not.
Yeah.
Did you have to fix
I
it?
did have
Good Christian boys don't wear
yeah.
hats on the bench.
Yeah. I did have a really good CBC, purple hat that I could have, but it was not allowed.
Ah, that's lame.
I figured.
So in the second period, we mentioned a couple chances the Blues had, but it was the Rangers that stroked.
They stroking.
Stroking to the east and stroking to the west.
To the west.
Yeah.
Carter.
Ryan
Strome.
Ryan Strome scores to put the Rangers up 2-0. Colton Parayko, I thought, and I was just saying as this play happens, he makes a nice play on Timmy Panarin, and I thought, I was just saying, I'm like, man, Panarin has been quiet, and Parayko's done a great job against him tonight. And he did on this play, but then he clears it up the boards to no one. The puck comes back across the crease. Panarin slides it low to Strome, who beats Husso on the near post. I thought that was a bad goal on Husso. I get that he's respecting Panarin on that shot. And Bill, I want to get your take on this. He's respecting Panarin to shoot that puck. So he's ready to try and take away as much net as possible. But Panarin is a playmaker, slides it down to Strome. Strome just basically tucks it in behind Husso, who's really not expecting that, goes between his legs. So bad goal on Husso. I thought a bad play by Parayko. But Bill, I want to get your take. Was this a bad goal on Husso?
I mean, I felt like he jammed it in. Certainly not a goal any goalie wants to give up, but when you have a guy that's wide open because of a turnover by your defenseman, I'm always going to side with the goalie and say it's not his fault.
He was there. Husso was there across in time. He had it covered. He was
Right.
expecting something else when the shot came, and he lifted his pad up and it went under. I mean, it's just one of those shitty. I wouldn't call it bad luck. It's bad decision.
It's one of those things that, you know, the pad came up because he's trying to, you know, it's a matter of him trying to get to the right position, and, you know, your muscles do funny things, and it's tough to keep it sealed to the ice when you're doing a backwards lateral kick.
Yep.
And, you know, it just one of those things that's just, you know, I cannot fault him. It would have been a hell of a save. You know, it would have been, you know, one of the saves of the Blues season had he made it. But yeah, just you can't leave a talented player that open. Too much time.
The whole play was set up like you mentioned, Jeff, where Parayko just clears the puck of the boards to nobody. I don't know if he whiffed on his backhand, but he's in a bad spot on a backhand to try and clear the zone. He's directly behind his own goal on his backhand, and I'm not sure if he just tried to chip it to, who was that, Sundqvist? I'm not sure that was, maybe Saad. I can't tell. Going to the corner. If he did, he chipped it way too hard and way out in front of him. Had no chance to get into it. So either way, terrible play by Parayko. I thought it was just not. I don't know what the hell he was doing.
I thought same boards.
He had
up
time
the glass.
too. He had
same boards up the glass is what he should have done on that play.
Mm-hmm.
He had time to cut back, because he's behind the goal, and there's not a single Ranger player behind the unred line yet on him, not even in the trapezoid. So it's like, what he seems like he's acting like there's a guy on top of him rushing him, and he didn't. He had a second to cut back and go back the other way against the grain if he wanted to, or even eat it behind the boards and just not turn it over to the point, which is the last thing you want to do.
Right, and it's the same, you know, different setup because you've got, you know, Strome's wide open down low, but it's the same thing. Turnover on those boards, and the Rangers read it and take advantage of it. And you know, I thought Parayko, you know, it looked like slow thinking Colton Parayko out there tonight. You know, between that and, you know, we'll get to it when we get to the third, the delay of game penalty. Just, you know, it was not his strongest game.
No, and that's what sucks. Is like I said, I thought before this goal, I thought he was playing fine. I was like, oh, Parayko looks great. He's playing against one of the best players in the league all night. But after this goal, I thought his game just went to shit. It was just downhill. Jabin Hacked says Bill Day has gold P2P and silver light work. I'm not sure what that means, but he gave a smiley face. Post to post,
peer to peer.
Peer to peer is the way I read that, and I'm like, that's not right.
Right, that's not. Unless he's talking about his connection. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Ken Morris
which is fucking god awful today.
Ken Morris asks, is Bill a butterfly, stand-up, or athletic goalie? I can tell you right now, never seeing him play, it's not the third one.
Damn straight. I'm the throw Bill. Whatever I could throw at type of goalie. And,
he's a hybrid.
You know that. Yeah, exactly. I'm a hybrid. You can't define me. but
Which
I
means you
also
have a hard time
I
beating him.
also right. I also haven't played a very, very, very long time. Soon, hopefully, to change.
Yeah, last time you played, Gump Worsley was in that, so that's
Right,
it's
he
been a
was at
while.
the other end against me. Right.
Right.
I actually did. I actually did have a coach in I think it was Pee Wee's who compared me to Gump Worsley, and at the time, I'm like 13. I have no idea who the hell Gump Worsley is. That was before my time.
Right.
But now I absolutely, I would have relished that. That was a hell of a chirp by Coach Heatherly.
Jabin Hacked also adds Chuck Norris can't score on Bill. So there you go. Thank you, Chuck Norris. So yeah, I want to go ahead and mention again, guys, that we are talking about the Blues and Rangers game from earlier tonight. So if you just joined, make sure you join us in the chat. We love to read what you have to say. So please keep talking. So that way I don't have to talk to these two guys all night. So at this point, the Blues are down 2-0, and you're thinking, oh, is this gonna be one of those games? Like, is this it? Rangers looking good. Blues are kind of on their heels right now. Well, 54 seconds later, Ryan O'Reilly makes it 2-1 off a great pass.
Whoa. You're not going to talk about my tweet before this goal happened?
I'm so sorry that I don't have your timeline pulled up.
After the Blues went down 2-0, I tweeted out, I said, okay, the Blues have been a team this season that this is the point in the game where they score quickly to turn the table after being down 2-0. And 2 minutes later, go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I didn't add this. Was this where in the middle where Braden Shen got in a fight too?
It was after 2-0. Yeah.
After so I thought, I've said before, I don't like the fight after a clean hit. I thought that was a great hit by Trouba to step up on Kyrou. But I love. We've already talked about it on this show before.
We disagree, but it's you. I do disagree. And someone, a good friend of mine, disagreed with me on Twitter too. When I said that, I said I love the step up by Shen there to fight after it was a clean hit, nothing wrong with the hit. It was a hard hit, on a skilled player. If and I'll just real quick, if someone's gonna take a hard hit on especially one of our skilled players, I like seeing the guy step up and say, hey, okay, if you want to hit that guy, fine. We're gonna tussle afterwards.
See, I like that fight for another reason. I like it because it's Braden Shen saying, literally going out, and we've seen him do this before. Okay, who can I fight? Give me a reason to fight someone because we're down 2-0. Right. We need a spark, and that was him stepping out, seeing that hit, and basically going right up to Trouba and saying, "You may not want to fight me, but I'm going to fight you anyway."
I thought the same.
You better defend yourself.
I thought that's another reason for that fight. So that's
why
I like the fight. I'm all for that.
Yeah, I honestly I was worried with that Shen was gonna get the instigator for stepping up because when the play happened initially as as a Blues fan, my initial reaction is that's a headshot on our all-star. Somebody better step up. And then as I watched it again, I'm like, yeah, he didn't have to, but I'm glad he did.
Yeah, exactly. So after that, 54 seconds also after the Rangers score, Ryan O'Reilly makes it 2-1 off a great pass, and obviously he was reading Kurt Price's timeline when he did this and said, I need to go out there and score a goal. Show everyone that Kurt Price knows what the hell he's talking about.
People need to listen to me more often.
Great pass from Brandon Saad in front. O'Reilly, and this was kind of a missed play. They didn't really talk about this, I thought, in the broadcast. So the Blues have a chance down low. The puck ends up going the other way. Looks like it's going to be a pretty good breakout for the Rangers. But Ryan O'Reilly hustled back right at the blue line and tipped a pass across to spring a guy and went right to, I don't remember who it was, but it went right to one of the Blues defensemen. Was it Krug? Yeah. Yep. And then play goes right back the other way. The forwards are all caught in the neutral zone. Play goes the other way. Saad weaves around the defender, slips it in front, and O'Reilly one times a top shelf over a sprawled Shesterkin, cutting the lead in half, 2-1. I just thought, a lot of love for Saad for the play he made, a lot of love for the Blues being able to turn around and make that a great play. But Ryan O'Reilly just creates his own luck. He makes a play like that, and he's rewarded with a goal.
Never given up on a play, and it's a back check. It's a back check at the blue line in the offensive zone. What he's doing, because the play is going back the other way, and he's back checking, if you will. Never given up. As a forward, you could be like, well, I'm skating back, I'll get a guy, but no, he's looking to disrupt the pass and does a great job. Taps it back to Krug, back the other way, against the grain. Goal 5 seconds later.
No chance for Shesterkin.
So would you say that he properly defined the term as back check, forecheck, paycheck?
He earned that moolah, that's for sure.
You don't see a lot of forwards back checking in the it's the offensive zone, right, the blue line. It's an interesting back check, but never, like I said, never give up on a play. That's just pressure, constant pressure.
Yep. So just a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to say, Jabin Hack said, yeah, Saad, nice pass. It was a beautiful pass by Saad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
just
perfect.
Absolutely just pinpoint accuracy. And I don't think that puck gets up that quickly if O'Reilly doesn't have the broken toe curve that he's got.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And
great finish.
And the Seattle Kraken just have the same goal on Nashville.
They really did. Yeah, really did. I don't know what led to it. I don't think it was a. I mean, I don't think it was a back check at the blue line, but yeah,
no,
same
backdoor, same backhand pass across the crease and roof daddy, beautiful.
Yep.
That was
and
beautiful.
The score is the same, 2-1. Score was the same in this game as it was in the Blues game too, 2-1.
So just a minute and 7 later, Barbashev ties it up on a partial break. Kyrou had a great read in the defensive zone to spring Barbashev on the breakout on the near wall. Mano between Shesterkin and Barbashev. Barbashev wins this one with a top shelf shot. Big thing I noticed about this play, and again, really wasn't mentioned in the broadcast. I just don't think we should be overlooking how in the defensive zone, the Blues, Nico Mikola had a broken stick right before this play happened. Rangers had some pretty good pressure down low behind the net. Blues played it pretty well. Braden Shen ends up doing what any forward should do in this situation, keeping that in mind, young hockey players listening to this. Braden Shen gives his stick to Mikola, and that way Mikola can defend. So he's, as Shen's kind of skating off the ice, that's when this play happened. Shen's trying to go get another stick. Kyrou gets the puck, sees Barbashev springing, and all of a sudden it's a tie game, 2-2. Just a great play all around, I thought, by pretty much all the Blues on the ice to defend well and then get the puck up really quick to Barbashev. This
is a fantastic pass by Kyrou. Fantastic. Bank off the boards up to Barbashev. And it needs to be noted, too, that Barbashev's a lefty coming down left wing, shoots at an angle, and then scores upper glove, far post. That's not a good. I mean, that's a much easier shot to hit if you're a righty in that spot for Barbashev. But you're a lefty, your angle is cut down dramatically, and to put it where he did was fantastic. You almost want to blame Shesterkin a little bit for not having that angle because he's a lefty in that spot, scoring where he did. But great shot by Barbashev. And they noted on the broadcast too that that's where Tarasenko should have put it earlier in the game when he got about halfway up where he wanted to. So, but again, to nitpick and to criticize a player for to call him out for basically not shooting it where the goalie wasn't in a high pressure situation when it's bang bang play and he does get it up some but not all the way. It's like, easier said than done, guys.
Yeah. No, and I think the fact that it's Barbashev is left-handed is what gets him that corner available. Shesterkin's totally going to cut off the blocker side, right?
Sure. Okay.
And Barbashev's got to have a book on him. I mean, at some point they've played, whether it's at a Russian team thing or just, coming up in I would expect that they would know a thing about how Shesterkin plays. And I mean, he's like I said earlier, he's one of the darlings of the goaltending community right now, and he's having a great season. But Barbashev read that perfectly and picked the spot perfectly. And
You know, it's interesting.
Absolutely beautiful.
I got it freeze framed here when Barbashev's shooting. Shesterkin looks like he's in pretty damn good position. I don't think it. It doesn't look like he's cheating to his right
It was
at
a
all.
snipe.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it looked like he's right in the middle between the pipes. He's not his gloves down kind of low, but positionally, I mean, left to right, he looks really damn good. But yeah, no, it was a snipe. He put it where he wasn't.
Yeah, beautiful shot.
Seattle's just scored 3 quick goals to take a lead on Nashville.
This is a carbon copy of the Blues game, and the same goal let it off. Same kind of. It's ridiculous. The exact same goal that O'Reilly scored was scored first to top it all off, and then bang bang, 2 more goals. This is interesting. I almost said too,
itself.
I almost said that earlier when they scored their first goal that they were going to score another one real quick.
So another minute 7 later. So it was a minute 7 between the first and second goals for the Blues. Now it's another minute 7 later. Perron gives the Blues their first lead of the night. Blues had great pressure in the zone, and O'Reilly to Perron, back to O'Reilly to Parayko. Just some great passing, leads to a chance down low. Ryan O'Reilly gets the puck behind the net, finds Perron right in the sweet spot. Boom, beat Shesterkin. 3 goals in 2 minutes and 14 seconds for the Blues to take the lead late in the second period, 3-2.
Rangers fans are booing too,
and that's right. And so it's great that we're all watching the Seattle game and what's happening, because the biggest difference here is that it's only halfway through the second period. Nashville just had to take their time out. It was a huge difference. New York had the intermission coming up, and New York used it perfectly, saved their timeout, and then used that timeout to wind up taking the lead in that game. So huge difference between the games. Otherwise, 3 quick goals, very, very similar. But yeah, I really thought the timing of the Blues' third goal, absolute great setup from O'Reilly to Perron, and Perron picking the upper corner. Again, the book on Shesterkin, go upstairs, and he's another great snipe. But God, the timing with it so late in the period, I thought allowed the Rangers to regroup and come out strong in the third.
From Perron being at the bottom of the circle when he lets a shot go. And again, he's a righty from the right side, shooting at Shesterkin, who and this goal goes upper far post. It's almost like, and I don't think did they show this goal with a different angle behind Perron, because it was almost like Shesterkin was not square to him. The shooter, he didn't look square to him when I'm looking at the freeze frame here when the puck goes by him. But again, it's interesting because this is again a righty going far post, offhand going far post, I guess, when you wouldn't expect it to necessarily go there. You expect a righty to maybe go near post. So pretty cool.
So again, going into the third period, Blues have a 3-2 lead after trailing 2-0. So third period, unfortunately, the Rangers would tie the game. They'd get the next goal. Patrick Nemeth scores at 7:27 of the period. The Rangers broke in. Strome hit Husso in the head as he's going across the crease. Husso complained about goalie interference as the puck went in the net, but the Blues decided not to challenge. So I mentioned on Twitter on this goal, I think at the end of the day, I will agree that not challenging was probably the right call. But there was a part of me who said, because the goalie's supposed to be in the paint, supposed to be in the crease. If he's hit while he's in the crease, then that is goalie interference. Technically, even though he was sprawled out, his feet were still in the crease when he got hit.
All of his pads, I think.
Yeah, his leg pads were still in the crease. So would you guys have challenged this? And if the Blues would have challenged, what do you think the outcome would have been?
No, I don't challenge.
Delay of game penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
look,
contact. The contact occurred at his head, which was outside of the crease. You're not going to get that call.
we saw this happen with Bennington, and where all of Bennington's body early in the season was in the crease, but his glove had reached outward ahead of him to try and glove the puck. And so his glove was outside the plane, the vertical plane of the crease, and somebody comes by and hits the glove right when the puck gets there, and doesn't allow him to make the save. Puck squirts free to his right, and someone hits it in. Not that different here, except a portion of Husso's body is outside the crease, and somebody hits him, and Husso embellishes. He grabs his head. He's not hurt. He grabs his head. But then he tries to get back up, and then they score. Barbashev damn near blocked the thing too. It goes off his leg or skate, it hits the post and goes in. So it's just, I don't challenge that because of past precedents, even though it's such a strange rule, because you're not supposed to hit the goalie. You're supposed to avoid contact at all costs, right? Even if the goalie's outside the crease. Outside the crease, you're not supposed to touch him, not supposed to hit him. Incidental contact, okay, but you're supposed to try and avoid contact. If you don't try and avoid contact and there's incidental contact, it's a penalty. So it's weird because this was incidental, but the forward doesn't try to avoid contact with him, but they allow the goal to score if a goal is scored. It's interesting to me because this could be a penalty if Husso is outside the crease behind the goal completely and a player comes by and hits him in the head. You know what I mean? Like they did here. But it's the Blues' best bet here would not be to disallow a goal because he wasn't allowed to make the save. It'd be he was hit for interference, should be a penalty just for interference. That would be my take on it.
The fact that he was like, because you mentioned Binnington with the outreached glove getting hit.
Yep.
So the fact that he was on his belly at this point, that doesn't mean anything. Like, that doesn't change your opinion at all. Like, he was sprawled on the ice. He wasn't just reaching out and got hit. That doesn't change anything for you?
Well, the rule states that the contact has to
happen inside the
goalie
crease.
from making. Well, no, the goalie. Well, it does state inside the crease, but it also states that the contact has to prohibit the goalie from making the save. And you could argue that Husso wasn't going to get back up to the goal anyway. I mean, you could make that argument, I guess. If he's in the crease where the contact is made, absolutely challenge.
Yeah,
because that wouldn't be a goal. But where I come from with this whole thing is that contact outside the crease can result in a penalty, but contact in this case, where half of his body's in the crease and half is outside, the goal can stand, but there's no penalty there. I don't understand the difference between there not being a penalty here. I'm not saying he could have made the save without the contact. I'm saying if that contact is made outside the crease, they might call it a penalty, like if he's behind the goal. But why not a penalty here?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think it was worthy of a penalty. And I think especially after that Binnington play, earlier in the season and Berube being burned on, coaches' challenges and, to the point that you've got those 2-goal swings in games, he wasn't going to risk it there. They looked at it, they saw that the contact was outside of the crease, and that was their decision made. And I think it was the right one.
Yeah, and it was a tie game at this point. So we weren't losing the game. This was just the game tying goal. So it wasn't like we're down a goal now.
And if you lose the coach's challenge, you put them on the power play.
Right.
And
that's
which
what happened.
You're not going to do. That's what we did. That's what we did earlier in the year, and we got burned on it.
Right.
Pittsburgh.
Exact same thing.
That was Pittsburgh.
And we said that we wouldn't have challenged because it was just a tie game at the time. It was a 50-50 call,
Right. And it was on the Bennington play. That was the Pittsburgh game.
Yeah. Yep. That's the exact same play. That's right.
Yep.
No.
So
don't
go ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, don't repeat the past, and Berube didn't here, and I think that was the right thing.
So, and I agree. Like I said, I agree. At the end of the day, it's just That thought did cross my head. Like, if they were to challenge and lose, I don't know if I'd be really that upset, because I'd say I might have made the same call in the moment, but I'm glad they didn't. I think they made the right call in not challenging. Colton Parayko takes a 2-minute delay of game penalty, something that has kind of become his specialty, right? I feel like we've seen that a lot. We saw it in Game 7 against the Bruins in 2019, only penalty of the game. But I feel like we've seen that a lot lately. And I'll admit, this is kind of where I lost my shit. No reason to be lifting that puck as high as he did and trying to. I don't know what he's doing there. That's just. And I get
He's trying to go off the glass.
He was on his backhand, right? I mean, I get that sometimes the puck will flip up on you. I'm pretty sure he was. I could be wrong. But you know what? He's a righty, so no, it would have been on his forehand.
I think he was on his forehand. But
yeah, he would have been on his forehand.
He's trying to go off the glass, and he does a lot. He misses a lot.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. When you're behind the net in a tie game, I get you're wanting to shoot off the glass. Don't put it off the high glass. Put it right above the boards. You're a skilled NHL player. That shouldn't be an issue all the time, because it seems like it happens a lot with him. So I was kind of losing my shit over that penalty. I'm like, come on, man. Like, the Blues are on their heels. You're a good penalty killer. You're going in the box. And exactly what we thought would happen. Chris Kreider capitalizes on the ensuing power play. I thought it was a really nice play by the Rangers. Power play basically set up a double screen. Kreider was in front to tip in an Adam Fox shot, which really I think Husso had no chance on. I don't think he could see it. Even if he could see it, it was tipped twice before it got to him. So just a really great all-around play by the Rangers. Maybe you blame Falk for not tying up the stick of Kreider in front, but again, it's a power play. It's not man-on-man. Just a nice play by the Rangers.
They took a timeout, too, to keep their number one unit out there.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Right.
So.
Right. Yep. And
by Gerard Gallant, the man who continues to be fired and has been awesome and does not deserve to be fired and left on a street corner, right?
Right.
The official,
the image, that image from when he got fired before the game in Raleigh, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was Raleigh.
That was just terrible.
The officials didn't want to give him this timeout. They almost didn't.
Right.
No, they said no, and then they gave it to him. So that was a big deal. They don't score this goal without that personnel out there.
Yeah. Well, they might,
I would
because
agree.
those guys I think still stay out there, but they're definitely not as fresh, because they wouldn't have let him make a line change that late. But yeah, they're definitely not as fresh.
No, they called the timeout.
Yeah,
they would have made the second unit would have came out there. I think they wouldn't have let those.
No, I think what the officials thought were they were trying to make a line change, and that's what they were saying no to. Not that they were saying no to the timeout, because once Gallant, once the camera got back to Gallant, he's doing the timeout, the T with the hands, and they're like, okay, if you're calling the timeout, no big deal.
Yeah.
So.
Because his second unit, I'm not sure if his second unit was out there, and he called the timeout so he could get his first unit back out there. I'm not sure if that was the case or not.
It was still the first unit was still out there. Bill's right. He was. So well, once they
commented on the broadcast. They said that they called the timeout so they could get the first unit back out there.
Yeah. The first unit, that was the thing, was the first unit was still out there. Gallant tries to call a timeout. They wouldn't give it to him. So then he goes to make a line change, and they say, no line change. And then he said, I've been trying to call a timeout. And then they finally said, okay, yeah, we'll give you your timeout. That's what happened. Right?
Yeah.
Am I right on that, Bill?
Yeah, I believe so. That is how I thought it played out. So watching, I don't know if you guys follow at Danny Allstar 15, one of my favorite funny Twitter hockey follows. Might be Danny Heatley, might not be. But he shows a GIF of this of the goal, and absolute beautiful deflection by Kreider. I mean, league leading 18th power play goal of the season, and Bortuzzo cross checks him down. Kreider gets up and screams in his face.
I didn't see that.
It's
when
pretty
he
awesome.
scores, he gets up and screams. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So he says Bobby Bortuzzo cross checks Chris Kreider, and Chris literally got up and screamed in Bortuzzo's face. That was some sibling rivalry playing mini sticks in the basement kind of energy. The garden is buzzing right now.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't see that.
Well, Bortuzzo knocked him down after he scored.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Yep. So okay. So the Blues get a power play late, on a slash. I thought they had great. Well, I thought they had fine pressure. They weren't getting.
I'm sorry.
shots.
Not power play. Sorry, not when they put their goalie pulled. Sorry, I was jumping.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
My outrage.
At that point, there's like 4.5 minutes left. I don't know. I guess I'm just a little crazy Coach Ponder here. I'm pulling my goalie right there because they had great pressure. And I think once you're in about 30 seconds and the Blues are keeping it in the zone, if I'm Berube, I'm like, I'm getting one more guy out there. Like, Husso, come off. I'm going to fucking throw out another forward. And they didn't do it, which I was like, okay, that's fine. But then they pull the goalie when they have they literally barely get it into the zone. And then they're like, oh, let's pull him now. And Panarin gets the puck at center, puts it in the empty net. Rangers win it 5-3. I thought that was pretty. And listen, I think Craig Berube's done a great job, and I hope he stays around for a long time. I did not like the coaching there. I think you pull the goalie with the power play, you put the goalie back in if you don't score after the power play is over, and then you go back to about a minute 30, you pull them again, but you got to have pressure. And I just feel like they were like, as long as it's in the zone. What?
How much time was left? There was like 4 something.
It's about 4.5 minutes left.
Yeah, that's a lot to be.
I would have done it. I think if
here's what I would.
Seeing the pressure they had early in that power play, I think I go ahead and pull them.
What I would have done, and is what they did. You essentially, with 4.5 to go, you've got a man advantage the rest of the game. So you have a power play for 2 minutes, and then after that, then the next available time you pull your goalie for hopefully the rest of the game or until you tie it or whatever. I thought that's kind of a standard practice. It wouldn't have surprised me at all, I guess, if the last like 30 seconds or a minute of that power play with 3 minutes to go, if they pulled the goalie. I get it, and it's been done. It would have been aggressive, but and who knows what would have happened. But I like aggressive hockey, but I think I would have played it the way they did, where you're essentially trying to give yourself, barring an empty net goal against, about 4 minutes of a man advantage to end the game.
I get that, and I'm not against it. I'm just saying, right. I think the way that he pulled the goalie, it was, okay, we're literally going to barely get it into the zone, and then we're going to pull the goalie. Like, no, get some pressure first, then pull the goalie.
Right. From a strategy perspective, I think Kurt's right. You're not going to pull them while you're shorthanded while you've got the power play, because they can ice it with impunity, take shots at the empty net, without repercussion of an icing. So you wait until that's over to maximize how much you have your man advantage. They just executed poorly and didn't get the puck deep, as this team is wont to do too often.
It was a bad turnover.
Right. Yeah. I think you have to
Terrible.
wait until the puck is behind the D, and they didn't. They turned it over at the blue line, and went right back the other way. And
and it's not like there were 30 seconds to go, and they had to get him off in a hurry.
Right, it's just under 2.
They had time.
So
they
had time to work it.
They had time to actually gain possession and set up in the ozone and then pull the goalie. That probably is a better way, hindsight 2020, right? But it's just but you also don't expect your player to just kind of spin and throw the puck in the middle of the ice to nobody and turn it over either. So I mean, you could
Right.
say
And
it's bad
it
coaching. You could say
was
but you could also it's a terrible offensive play. You can't expect a player to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So
right. No,
that's
it's
bad.
it's terrible puck management, and
Yep.
it was a poor execution. Who was it that turned that over? I
Was it
didn't even
Perron?
catch.
I think it was
think it was-
Perron.
It was either it was Perron or Cairo, but whoever it was,
me pull it up here.
thank God it wasn't a local broadcaster, else we would have had to hear, especially if it was Cairo. That's just where you got to get it deep. Clutch the pearls, clutch the pearls.
It was
It was
Sod.
Sod.
Was it Sod?
Okay. Wow.
Sod was on the boards, even with the top of the circle, near boards, and just turned and just wheeled it to the center of the ice, to the slot where there was not a single Blues player, and 3 Rangers were there. There was no one there.
There was a couple times in this game where the Blues seemed like they were throwing it in a certain spot, and there was like 4 blue sweaters and like no white, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, look where you're putting the puck, and that was one of those situations.
I'm thinking that Sod was trying to hit, and this would have been a good play if it had worked. Maybe he was trying to hit the trailer. Who was that? Was that Falk? Can't tell who it is. It's kind of blurred. But Sod peels off the defender, the forward, I guess, back checking on the near boards, and he went. And the camera cuts away from the broadcast, so you can't really see exactly what happened. But it looks like, based on where the Blues players are positioned, he's trying to spin and just kind of slide it over to the 2 Blues breaking down the middle. And he just totally, I think the Blues player missed it, to be honest. And then it ended up, when the camera cuts back, it's in the middle, it's in the slot with 3 Rangers players and no Blues players around. So I think it was just either a missed pass or a bad pass to that player. I get what he was thinking. So there wasn't nobody there, but it was, I don't know, missed pass or a bad pass, one of the 2.
Yep.
Either way, not a good play.
So in this game, Blues outshot the Rangers 32-29, which we mentioned early how the Blues were kind of overpassing, and they only had like 3 shots on in the first 10 minutes, and you thought, oh God, is this going to be one of those games? But they turned it on, especially that second period, played really well. Face-off percentage, Blues absolutely dominated face-off, 67-33% for the Blues. They went 0 for 3 on the power play, Rangers 1 for 2. Blocked shots in this game, which just goes to show the Blues were really trying to pepper Shesterkin as much as they could. 23 blocked shots for the Rangers, 6 for the Blues.
It's interesting.
Yeah, no, I thought, I thought the Rangers did a hell of a job, especially early in the game, of just completely crowding out the slot, especially the low slot, forcing the Blues to the angles and really leading the Blues to making, too many passes and not giving them any high danger scoring chances to start the game. And, I thought, when I saw that, I was like, this is definitely going to be a long game. They were awesome in terms of shutting that down. And, let's not forget the hell of a block shot on that Blues power play by was Lindgren? Isn't that that took the shot off the inside of the knee? I think it was Tarasenko that had the shot, and it's a hell of a block. So,
and good on Shesterkin trying to get him off the ice too, doing all he could to help his teammate out.
That was sweet. Funny. Although if he's seriously injured, I don't know if shoving on a guy trying to get him off the ice is the best.
Get the fuck out of here!
Yeah, I broke my back. Stop it.
And that's Chucky Sideburns' brother, is it not?
Is it
Ryan Lindgren? Yeah, I believe so.
I don't know.
Yes, siblings, Charlie Lindgren. Yeah.
We didn't mention the Zibanejad either, with the puck that got through Shesterkin. Looked like it might have been going in.
Jeff mentioned it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned it.
Oh, it was totally going in. Yeah, it was totally going in.
Oh, I would have gone in.
Hell of God. When the Buchnevich trade happened, and you heard, the first thing you heard was trade with the Rangers. The whole time I'm like, oh, be Zibanejad. And then when I heard it was Buchnevich, I'm like, okay, I like that too. Yeah. But God, Mika Zibanejad is. God, he is one of the most underrated players for playing in such a large market. He is one of the most underrated players in the league. and I thought
Just
he had
needs
a
to shoot
great
more.
game tonight.
Just needs to shoot more. The face-off percentage was interesting to me too, because we had a couple games that we talked about last show where the Blues were out face-offed by a similar percentage. They were on the losing end of it, and we won the games. And now we dominate face-offs and we lose this game. 32 shots on goal, 23 blocks, meaning, we could have had 30, we could have had 40 shots on goal. And and one of the talking points after this game is that we didn't shoot enough. And it's just interesting. I mean, we had tons of opportunities, right? And we could have had easily a half dozen more shots if they had taken the shot when they had it, as opposed to passing it up for what they thought was a better scoring opportunity.
That's true. Well, there's plenty more Blues hockey to talk about here, folks. So we're going to talk about the rest of the Blues' week a little bit, and we'll talk about, fallout from the Russia-Ukraine situation as soon as we hear from our friends over at Center Ice Brewery.
Do you like hockey? No, of course you do. Do you like beer? Of course you do. Are you 21? Let's hope so. If you answered yes to all of those questions, run on down to your local beer distributor and pick up a 2-4 of Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, or any other delicious hockey-themed beer from Center Ice Brewery. That's right, Center Ice Brewery beer is available at various beer stores around town, so check around for the one closest to you. That's Center Ice Brewery. Let's go Blues! I hear that, and the commercial and the background music reminds me of like a 80s sitcom or something. Like
I was thinking an
intro.
80s porno.
Even better. Even better. Yeah. Wow. You know what's funny is that Bill's a little choppy with his video, and he was out of his chair. And then I guess the video was frozen for a second, and all of a sudden he's back in his chair like magic.
Yep. There he is. There he is, folks. Bill Day in all his beauty.
I needed to go get something to show off.
Oh, he's got some skates.
Bill is serious about getting back in the crease, folks. Those are some beauty goalie skates.
You gonna bake those things?
No, not at first. I'm gonna give him a few skates and see how it goes, and then make that decision.
Have you skated at all yet?
I have not. I did not get a chance to get out last weekend. Hoping to find some time this weekend and just hit a public skate or something. But
have you heard when the rink in Edwardsville is going to open? The new one?
May.
Okay.
The RP Lumber Center.
Is that what it's called? Are you kidding me?
No,
is it being called that?
You.
That's serious?
Yes.
What's your problem with RB Lumber?
RP? The
guy
has
Plumber.
He has to stamp his name on every goddamn thing in this town. Everything is
I don't think
Bob
I've
Plummer
ever
strip mall, the Bob Plummer hotel, the Bob. They're going to rename Edwardsville to Plummerville. What they're going to do?
The Bob Plummer State Congressional seat. Oh,
I haven't heard of this guy.
He is also part owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So
what?
He owns RP Lumber. They have a number of lumber stores in the Southwest Illinois and some in Missouri, I think.
It's further out than that. So, isn't he responsible for the neighborhood in Edwardsville, Ebbets Field, because of his love of the Dodgers?
Ebbets Field. Yeah. All the mailboxes are Dodger blue. It's named Ebbets Field. It's a big, huge Ebbets Field sign that arcs over the road going in. It's a very grand entrance into this neighborhood. He's got a huge ass house, huge mansion right down the road from that. Huge Dodgers fan, obviously.
Right in the center of town.
He's a ruthless land developer, businessman too. He's yeah. So basically, if it gets built in Edwardsville, it almost has to go through him because he's on boards and stuff. He's a piece of work.
I've got some bad news for you then. We are now Let's Go Blues Radio, powered by RP Lumber.
Nope. Nope. Not unless they want to give us 6 figures.
Not going to do it.
Not gonna do
But
it.
isn't that where you play
Not gonna do it.
pickleball? Is Plummer Park?
I do. It's a nice park. Not gonna lie, I'll put there for free.
That's how he
Yeah,
makes his
12
money.
Yeah,
nice
he's
courts,
got
man.
enough money
12
to let us play hockey for free.
12 outdoor. What bugs me is that he has lights up there for the soccer fields and the softball fields and whatnot, but the pickleball courts don't have lights. And so the group that plays there, they're trying to get a grant and they're trying to raise money to install lights. And I'm like, God damn it, plumber, put some lights in the pickleball court. You've got
Pickleball.
$400 million, whatever the hell.
You mentioned to me at the end of last show, off the air, about how you and Amy been playing pickleball.
Mhm.
After you asked me that, literally every day, at least once, I've seen posts on Facebook or Twitter about pickleball. I guess it's really growing in the area.
It's the
So I
not just the area, it's the fastest growing sport in the US, I think.
might need to check that out.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's less athletic tennis.
Did you
Yeah,
say
doubles? Yeah,
less
singles is
athletic?
he
My,
hath a lip.
it's been a long. I do. I hide it very well. That's why I don't talk as much as y'all on this show. No, I'm tired and got tongue tied.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just giving you shit.
Never
Hey, we
make
give
fun of
Kurt
somebody
shit
with a
about
lisp.
Steve Buchnevich. I got to give
Steve
you shit when you
Buchnevich.
say stuff like that.
I'm still laughing about that. It's funny. Steve Buchnevich. I don't know why that popped into my head. Not too many Russians named Steve, are there?
Nope.
It sounded right in my head. There had to have been another player that was named Steve that we were just talking about. That happens a lot when you're dealing with a lot of names. I will like mix up the first and last names.
I'm
I'll give them
still
switch sometimes.
convinced you were thinking of Steve Buscemi.
Maybe
It's
I might have
possible.
been. I have no.
Completely
I couldn't tell you. I
possible.
don't know. Not sure what happened. Steve Buchnevich.
First of all, let's get into a couple comments here. Ken Morris asks, is Scandella still hurt? And Bill Day, I'm
Yes.
going to give you comment of the show. I know that's kind of illegal, but I don't care. Bill Day's response to that is, who cares?
He is on the IR. So yes, he is still hurt.
No offense
I
to
was-
Marco Scandella, but Jake Wallman has been playing very well.
Yes.
I like seeing him on that third pairing.
Yeah, and that's been kind of my point lately is I'm like, I know you're doing what you can to probably unload that contract, but man, you cannot put him back in that lineup right now with the way Wallman's playing. Wallman and Mikola, they have just passed him. You can't put him in there now. And if you do, it's to sit
I think we missed an
one of the older
opportunity
guys
tonight.
and give them a break.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we missed an opportunity to give Mikola a nickname with Kurt's drink of the show. It could be RC Nico-Cola.
RC
Nicola, RC
I like
Nicola.
that.
Jeff's emphasis
I think
on the other syllable with Mikola, right?
Yes.
God damn it! Do I say that wrong too?
Mikola. I say Mikola.
Just
Mikola.
right.
What do I
Mikola.
say?
You say Mikola.
Right.
Mikola.
Mikola. Right.
And I say Mikola.
Right.
What's
Mikola,
right?
who once played in the Traverse City tournament.
I I think Mikola is correct, but I mean you got to ask him, I
Mikola.
guess.
And I say Mikola. God damn it.
That's this show anyway.
Oh my god, damn it, dude. What the hell?
Only when we're
I
on
know
the
it's
air, so you know.
You know, ask Ken Wilson.
Yeah.
Ken Wilson, no.
I will.
Ask him.
I'm going to text Ken Wilson right now. Okay. Bennington and the Blues shut out the Hawks on their home ice. Guys, you hate, well, I say you hate to see it. You almost hate to hear it. No Chelsea Dagger because of
You
that.
hate to not hear it, right?
You hate to not hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You hate to hear the silence.
I don't
go
know.
ahead.
When's the last time the Blues had a shutout in Chicago? Was it mentioned?
I don't think so.
I was waiting for him to say the last time the Blues shut out the Hawks in Chicago was this date. I never heard it.
I'm going to take a wild fucking guess, and I'm going to say Brent Johnson in the playoffs when he
Ooh, that's a long time ago.
went on that streak.
No.
That was 2002.
I'd say it was.
I could have sworn that either Halak or Elliott had one.
Patrick Lalime, 2006.
I don't know. I'm not gonna look it up. That would take
I'm
about.
sure
a few
you're
minutes.
probably right, Bill. Halak or Elliott probably did. I mean, that one year they both had. God, we had like 20 shutouts in that season. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ken Hitchcock. So David Perron put up 2 goals. So he's kind of, we kind of talked about him last week being a little off. Seems like he's kind of turned his game around. Braden Shen, 2 assists, continued his hot streak. And Blues go up 4-0 on the Blackhawks in this game.
I think people players are streaky. A lot of players are streaky, right? Perron got off to a great start this season. That went into a lull, and then kind of snapped out of it recently. And it's like, people get down on him and say, "Oh, is his time over as a player and whatnot?" I'm like, well, let's not make that assumption based on 15 games or whatever it is. It's like let's let this play out. It's almost like the whole knee jerk jump into a weird conclusion thing as far as goaltending goes. It's like, settle down. It's a small sample size. Yes, he's getting older, so that comes into play. But we were just talking to start the season about how he hasn't skipped a beat from last season. His age is like not a factor. He's been fantastic. Re-sign him now. And then he goes into a little bit of a funk, and people are like, abandon ship on David Perron. Don't re-sign him for next season. Trade him at the deadline. It's like, Jesus Christ, people.
Yep.
Yeah. And, I was so happy when he scored in the Winter Classic, after being out before the Winter Classic. Mostly because I was supposed to be getting a David Perron Winter Classic jersey, which it's finally shipped. It'll be here sometime in the next 2 weeks.
Oh. Well, that's nice.
We had the opportunity to go down and pick it up, but with Arch Madness going on, I'm going nowhere near Enterprise Center right now.
Oh, fuck. You should have told me I'd go down there. I'd go pick it up for you and then hand deliver it to you.
I should have, man. Too late. It shipped.
I'm one of those crazy assholes that, like, since I don't work downtown anymore, I try to find reasons to go downtown. So, yeah, I'm weird. I don't know why that is. I'm weird. That's the answer. That's what it is. In this game, Jordan Binnington, 30 saves, 10th NHL shutout, 4th straight win for the Blues as a whole. He has 2 shutouts this season, both coming against the Blackhawks. For anybody who might not remember, it was 36 saves in a 1-0 win on October 30th at Enterprise. And anybody who's still questioning Binnington, if you want to rewatch that game, the Blues actually did not play very well. I was at that game. They played awful. And luckily, we were able to squeak out a 1-0 win. So apparently, Jordan Binnington just needs to play against the Blackhawks the rest of his career.
He's played well against them. And as far as the Blues fans are concerned, is like, if you're going to pick one team to be good against, fuck the Blackhawks. Be good against them.
You shut out the Blackhawks the rest of your career, you will die a legend in St. Louis.
Yeah, you get a statue.
Mm-hmm. So where are the Blues right now in the standings? I haven't updated this. I updated this after the Blues won, so I don't know if anything's happened since. But they are second in the Central. I hear clicking, so somebody's checking. Second in the Central, tied for second in the West. 191 goals for, which is second in the league, and 146 goals against, which is also second in the league. So Blues are still atop the league. I know it's easy to see a loss and get upset and get worried because it is a tight race, but Blues still have pretty good positioning right now in the Western Conference.
Yeah, Minnesota's got 2 games in hand on us, but can't make up the difference. They're 5 points back.
Right. They'll pass us in goals scored, but not points.
Yeah. Nashville is tied 3-3 going into the third. So they will take a game up on us, and still, if they get 2 points, they'll still be 4 back. So we're still in good position vis-a-vis the Preds.
So in terms of missing the playoffs, the Blues would basically have to go on a run like they did in 2018, 2019. For those that remember that, they have 70 points right now. If they were to just completely collapse, miss the playoffs, they are, let's see, 5th place, Dallas. They are second wild card, 63 points, same amount of games. Winnipeg is in 6th with 57 points. Basically, they have a 13-point lead on Winnipeg to miss the playoffs. They'd have to go on a disastrous tear for that to happen. So again, just get into the playoffs. That's always the key. Once you get there, anything can happen. But you do want to finish strong, and you do want to finish atop of the conference if you can.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way they're catching Colorado, but
no, I mean, and I don't. What's it? Winnipeg's in 6th for the wild, or what are they? They're 4th for the wild card.
4th for the wild, yeah.
Because Nashville and Dallas are the wild card right now, followed by
Anaheim and Vancouver are ahead of them. Yeah,
right. Yeah. So. Yep. So Anaheim is was Edmonton.
And Edmonton. Edmonton's ahead of them too.
You're right. So they're 7 points behind the Blues. So that's the team right now that is the closest. If the Blues were to fall, right? I guess if Nashville passes the Blues, or Minnesota passes the Blues, if the Blues fall out of the top 3 and Edmonton passes the Blues, then
let's put it like this too. For anyone worried about facing Colorado, Colorado is likely going to win the West. The Blues would have to drop to the last wild card spot to face Colorado in the first round.
Right.
I don't think that's. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Don't get me wrong; it's mathematically possible, but it's not going to happen.
Right. It's one of the least likely scenarios.
I think I said this.
Has Money Puck started putting out their daily stuff yet? I haven't seen it.
They've been doing it since the season started, I think.
Yeah, they do it every day.
Yeah. The wheel of probability for playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've said this for a while.
Shows how much I pay attention.
I want to say in our preseason predictions, a couple of us had the Blues finish in second, maybe to Colorado. I'm not sure where I had. I thought I had Minnesota third. The way it is now, I thought I had this. I don't think I had Nashville in the top 3. Maybe I did. But a couple weeks ago, I thought, this is the way I think it would go: Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota. And the way Nashville is playing, they're not doing. They're falling a little bit. 4-5-1 in the last 10. So, and Minnesota's Minnesota too. They're 3-7 in the last 10. I didn't realize that. Haven't paid attention. So
yeah. So in terms of the probability, right now we're 49.7% chance of finishing second in our division, 38% chance of finishing third, 4.9 to fall to wild card 1, 1.5 to fall to wild card 2. So we are in great shape. It would take a colossal collapse for us to be staring down a first round matchup with Colorado. So
we have to have like 4 teams pass us.
Yep.
Right.
Minnesota, Nashville,
not that I'm advocating for playing 500 hockey. You still want to fire at the closer to the 6-6-7, but
what's funny is that after
don't have the collapse.
After the Montreal loss, some people were talking about they might not even make the playoffs and the one. And I haven't really been on social media a lot tonight, especially after the game. So I don't know if people are doing their usual freak out after a loss. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. But the Blues were 6-0-1 coming into this game tonight, and so now they're 6-1-1 in the last 8. So it wouldn't surprise me if people were all over the Blues for something.
Yep.
Because you got to win every game.
You do. You it's the key. 82-0. like
Yep.
that old Verizon commercial with the Capitals.
You can't lose on the road to a good team, in New York. Can't do that.
Yeah. And again, going back to the Montreal game, who knew that Montreal was figuring things out? I mean, the other night, I didn't watch the game, but I saw Winnipeg's up 4-0, and the next time I checked, 5 minutes later, it's tied. Montreal just needed some confidence that Dominique Ducharme could not provide, and now that they've got it, they're a dangerous team. Hopefully they'll figure out that they don't want to win at this point in the season. But yeah,
Seattle just went up.
The sky is falling. Yeah, that's gonna have an impact on these numbers on the Money Puck probability wheel tomorrow.
Yep.
If it stays this way.
If you're podcasting, check the standings today, because I'm sure it's like you mentioned, Kurt, with Nashville going down in this game. Huge impact on the standings every game. So that's good to see. So I don't have the game on. So apparently you guys are reacting to something.
either Bill's ahead of me or I missed it, or I'm ahead of him. I missed it, but I didn't. I heard oof.
Yeah.
Nashville pretty much missed an empty net. So
okay, I missed it, I guess.
So before we get into the next little bit of talk, guys, we're going to be talking about hockey, how hockey is dealing with a lot of the shit going on right now over in Russia and Ukraine. I think we can all agree. We, as I tried to say at the end of last show, because war kind of broke out in the middle of our last show, that we are hoping for peaceful resolutions here. We're, I'll admit I am all about Ukraine beating the hell out of Russia, but at the end of the day, if they can find a peaceful resolution, I'm all for it. But we're going to get into some tough talk here, but just wanted to pass along that we're not advocates of war, and this is something we don't like to see.
Speaking of last week's show, it was interesting that a pretty historical moment happened right after we started the show, where it just it broke, that Russia had started the invasion of the Ukraine, and that's kind of interesting to kind of announce that and realize that during the show.
Yeah, it's going to be in history books. Like, oh yeah, these three guys are recording Let's Go Blues Radio. And war broke out, and this is their reaction.
Aside from CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and all the major media outlets, Let's Go Blues Radio was probably somewhere in the low thousands as far as reporting, breaking that news.
Right. Yeah, which we did a great job, let me tell you. So Alexander Ovechkin, who in the past has been known as a supporter of Vladimir Putin, he did have to. It was kind of obvious once the invasion started in Ukraine. Somebody who supported Putin in the past, lives in America, he's gonna basically have to have some words about it. Plenty of things he said here. I'll try and give the cliff notes. I would say it's a hard situation. I have lots of friends in Russia and Ukraine. It's hard to see another war. I hope it's going to be over and there's going to be peace in the whole world. His thoughts on Vladimir Putin. He says, quote, well, he's my president, but how I said, I'm not in politics. I'm an athlete. Hope everything's going to be done soon. It's a hard situation right now on both sides. Everything, like how I said, everything I hope is going to be end, and I'm not in control of situation. And then he also says, please, no more war. Doesn't matter who's in the war, Russia, Ukraine, different countries. I think we live in a world like we have to live in peace and a great world. So very neutral is the way I read that, a neutral stance. And I think that's the best he could do, given that he has family in Russia. But I know there was some talks. Oh, it looks like Kurt lost us. Bill, are you still with me?
I'm still here.
Okay, so we lost Kurt. Okay. That's okay, Kurt. Hopefully you can join us again soon. So tough situation. I know that there was some things that came out from somebody who used to report on the Capitals, Slava Malamud today. Malamud. I probably said that wrong. So check out his Twitter if you're interested. He had some things to say about Ovechkin and his support of Putin in the past, but those are your general comments there from Ovechkin about what's currently going on.
Yeah, that thread by former Caps media member Slava Malmud were definitely highly critical. Asking Ovechkin to calling out Ovechkin for for previously being a mouthpiece for the propaganda of Ukraine, being a Nazi fascist country, which it is absolutely not. Just propaganda to allow Putin to have a reason to take over the country. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting thread. I used to like Slava when he covered the Caps, and got a lot of Twitter, I don't know, don't want to say stardom, but he was prominent on Twitter, especially back, I think when Wyshynski was still in the DC area. I think he retweeted him quite a bit back in those days, and thought it was interesting that he fell off. Haven't seen him around, and he explained that he gave up the media thing and is now a school teacher. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Lost you for a few minutes.
Yeah, no, we're good.
No, we lost you.
Yeah, we lost you. Yeah, we're
Well,
still
I'm saying,
going.
Either way, I was disconnected. I lost you guys. You guys are still going. I fell out of the boat.
No, Kurt, we lost you. Yeah, that's what happened.
I fell out of the boat.
The boat was still going.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Just for a while, you had to doggy paddle behind us. But now you're back in the boat. We threw a lifesaver at you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kurt, I know this is where you wanted to talk, so let's go ahead and get into this. Dominik Hasek and Kelly Chase, former Blue, who we mentioned earlier, they both have actually called for the NHL to revoke Russian players' work visas. And I know they're probably not the only ones, but Kelly Chase is prominent because of his relationship with the Blues. But in a series of tweets, Dominik Hasek, in regards to Alexander Ovechkin's comments, which we just mentioned, he says, quote, "What? Not only an alibiist, a chicken shit, but also a liar. Every adult in Europe knows well that Putin is a mad killer and that Russia is waging an offensive war against the free country and its people. The NHL must immediately suspend contracts for all Russian players. Every athlete represents not only himself and his club, but also his country and its values and actions. That is a fact. If the NHL does not do so, it has indirect co-responsibility for the dead in Ukraine. I also want to write that I am very sorry for those Russian athletes who condemn Vladimir Putin and his Russian aggression in Ukraine. However, at the moment, I also consider their exclusion a necessity." Earlier that, I think it was the same day, Kelly Chase had tweeted, we have good friends and teammates that are Russian, but it'll be interesting to see, I'm guessing he means who, starts the ball rolling, sending the boys home. It will take some balls. He says, hate to say it, but it would sure as shit would make a statement. And I'll add one more. After Hasek's comments came out, he says, "So this morning I was hit in the head too much," because I think people were saying, hey, dude, you've been hit in the head too much to make comments like that. When I said it was being talked about in hockey circles, and now there's actually a big name player saying it, talking about Hasek. I promised Dom and I never had an international call. So, players saying, former players saying, and Hasek, for reference, Czech Republic, correct? That's his country.
Yes.
Yeah. And Kelly Chase, obviously being Canadian, but now lives in St. Louis. Those are the comments coming out from some former players about what should be happening. And we also heard reports from, I think it was Ivan Barbashev's agent, who said that his Russian players have been receiving threats.
Mhm.
So
Which-
that's the news going around right now about hockey and Russia and Ukraine.
It's hard for me to comprehend where Kelly Chase is coming from with this, and Hasek too. It doesn't make any sense to me. And just because Hasek and Chase agree, that doesn't make it any more valid. It doesn't make their points any more valid. Two people can be dead wrong about the same thing, and that's the case here. It makes no sense whatsoever to suspend or send home Russian athletes playing in the NHL over something that their country is doing back home, especially when those players are not voicing endorsement of those actions or of the president of Russia, Putin. I don't. It's strange to me. Kelly Chase said it would make a statement. Yeah, it'd make a hell of a statement that the NHL is overreacting to this situation. Now, Wayne Gretzky came out and he said that the World Juniors, the federation, should not allow Russia to compete in the World Junior Championships coming up in, is it June? I think. So
The World
to
Hockey
me,
Championships.
this is
right?
World Juniors, the rescheduled games.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
So I'm on board with that because that's a completely different situation. That's a country being allowed to participate in a worldwide tournament. It's no different than like the Olympic Committee sanctioning a country and not letting them compete or whatever. Same kind of thing. And I totally on board with what Wayne Gretzky said about. He said that Russia should not be allowed to participate in that tournament. I agree with that. But to suspend the players over here, the Russian players over here, they're not representing their country. I mean, they may feel like they're proud to be Russian on U.S. ice playing in the NHL, but they're not out there carrying around the Russian flag. They're not out there doing that kind of a thing. They're not really. I wouldn't say they're representing their country out there. They're representing the city they're playing for and getting paid to play in. They're representing that team that they're on and that city. And they happen to be Russian or any of the European countries or Canadian or whatever. They're not. Hasek seems to think that they're out there representing the country and pushing that country's values and actions. Which is, I don't see that at all. I don't where that comes from, and maybe that's from the heart for him. Maybe he feels like on the ice that he's representing his country, and that's fine. But if you're not actively saying anything about it, and you could feel pride in playing for the NHL and in representing Russia or whatever country, that's fine. But again, they have nothing to do with political decisions made in Russia. I don't understand what that would accomplish. What would that even do? I don't get that at all. Am I? You guys?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm having a hard time
100%.
putting it into words because it doesn't make any sense to me.
And
it seems so random.
It's crazy to me because, and maybe Hasek's far removed because he hasn't lived in North America in so long. It's crazy to me to see guys like Kelly Chase say that because they're obviously, you saw him, you've seen him with Vladimir Tarasenko, with Ivan Barbashev, with guys that he played with in Russia or from Russia. We've seen him, and it's crazy to me to see because I love what Ken Morris says right here. The Russian hockey players are innocent victims of this war, just like us. They're on work visas here. It'd be one thing if Alexander Ovechkin, after Russia invades Ukraine, starts posting, yeah, I'm going to go join the war effort. I'm going to go, side with the Russians and invade Ukraine with them. Okay. Yeah, suspend his work visa. Get him out of here. We don't need to deal with somebody like that.
Right.
But he hasn't. That's not the case at all. I mean, history, I mentioned earlier, I made a joke about history repeating itself. If the U.S. were to do something like that, what did the U.S. do with Japan when they
Right.
bombed Pearl Harbor? And I know that this is different; it's not U.S. soil, but what do we do with Germans in the U.S. back in the 40s? You can't repeat the same mistakes. You can't do it.
Right. It's not the exact same thing, but it's the same mentality, right? That leads to internment camps, right? It's these people are, in maybe it's a tough guy wanting to be tough and say, it's wartime now, there are enemies, but that's not how the world is, right? And that mentality would lead to to internment camps. Not that they're going to put Alex Ovechkin in an internment camp. That they could potentially send him home, but it's just ridiculous. And when I heard you guys, or saw you guys texting back and forth about Chase's comments, because I didn't see them, my first thought was, the Grandpa Simpson old man yells at cloud, right? That's
Yeah,
what it.
right.
It's exactly what I thought, and it's just grumpy old white man who has an opinion and an outlet for it. I disagree with it, and just let's move on.
Okay, so Chase said in his first tweet about this, he said, "We have good friends and teammates that are Russian, but," which totally reminds me of, say, if someone's having like a what is racist conversation. It's like a person will say, "I have black friends, but," you know what I mean? "Some of my best friends are black, but," there's no but here. There's no. And doing this, and Chase coming out and saying this, Hasek coming out and saying this is so out of touch with reality that they don't understand what's going to happen. And Barbashev's agent has come out and said, what this kind of stuff, people are stupid, and if they think that Russian players in the NHL,
if we learned one thing from 2016 to 2020, it's that people are stupid.
People are very stupid, and they're coming out of the woodwork. But just because someone has a platform doesn't mean it's smart conversation like this show. But so some idiot hears these comments from Chase or Hasek or whoever wants to suspend and kick the Russians out of the NHL because of this conflict, and if the NHL doesn't act, or even if they do, then all of a sudden you got some Billy Bob moron wanting to make threats against Russian players, or take a shot at a Russian player if he sees him after a game walking to his car or something. It's just like it's just so irresponsible of Chase and Hasek to make these kinds of comments, reckless, irresponsible comments that are only going to cause problems for the Russian players in the NHL, when they had nothing to do with any of this, unless some of them are secretly, Putin advisors. And they're advising on the war.
I mean, I hate to what Bill said about 2016, 2020. I hate to get into that, but when Trump's first order of business was to do the travel ban, and I remember hearing people that knew in my area, there's a lot of Bosnians in South County, because St. Louis provided a safe haven for them many years ago, and hearing people tell me all of a sudden racism is back. People were so good to them for so long, but then it was and yes, they've always dealt with racism. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say that it went away, but all of a sudden they couldn't even go to
people would have you
get away with.
They couldn't even go to the store. Yeah, well, and they wouldn't even they couldn't even go to the store without hearing a racist comment, all of a sudden, because of this, because Trump is telling everyone oh, these people are bad. It's I've been a US citizen for 20 years, why am I all of a sudden a bad person? And I think that's what's going on here with Russia. Just even, and let's put it like this too. Alex Ovechkin, his family's still in Russia. He comes out and says, Vladimir Putin's an asshole, and I hope somebody assassinates him. guess what? His family's not living anymore. He's not going to see him ever again. Like you can't. That's not the right mindset to have about people.
I think
wasn't Panarin, like, he's been pretty critical of Putin, doesn't go back to Russia in the summers anymore.
Putin, Panarin and Ovechkin are like polar opposites as far as support for Putin goes. Now, I think Ovechkin kind of probably is the catalyst for these comments because he's very pro Putin. He even had that Team Putin or Putin team or whatever it was the URL was to support Putin, and there was rumors that he was going to be the ambassador to sports or something from Russia after he retires or whatever. And Ovechkin still has a picture of him and Putin as his profile picture on Instagram. And the fact that that's stayed up now for over a week after the invasion, or I guess it's been a week. That's telling, right? That he's basically showing support. So I think his comments in the past and what he said is probably kind of, and that's being brought to the forefront by a lot of people. Oh, Ovechkin supports this guy. That's probably fueling these conversations, the comments from Chase and Hasek to blanket statement all Russian players, which I think is asinine and stupid. I don't know, and it's to assume that they had anything to do with it or guilty by association kind of a thing is not what this country is about. It shouldn't. I mean, even though we've got a bad history with stuff like that, but we look back on those times and we think how wrong they were. And like, gosh, those internment camps, the Japanese in World War II, that was terrible. We should have never done that. Ask George Takei about it, right? Sulu from Star Trek. His family was in.
The people who supported that were on the wrong side of history.
Right. Yeah, and that's why
we're already seeing that again.
Yeah, I mean, we look back on that stuff and we look at history and we're like, oh my gosh, that was we were ignorant of what was right and wrong at the time. We overreacted. We did this, and then we have people like Chase and Haas, should say, doing the same goddamn thing, not learning from past mistakes, and they want to do the same thing over and over again. And it's just like, come on, guys. I mean, the phrase, never meet your heroes, is a real thing, because I loved Kelly Chase when he played for the Blues. I thought he was such a cool player, inspirational guy, lunch pail guy, wore his heart on his sleeve, funny, seemed like a good guy. But then you give him a platform on social media and he just is diarrhea all over the place of the mouth. And it's just like, oh, he's that kind of a guy. So I think a lot less of Chase nowadays because of that, because he said some things that were just off the board stupid. And I just, you stick to hockey, and I shouldn't say that. I mean, you can have your opinion, but if you put it out there, be prepared to be judged on it, because it ain't good.
Ken Morris says Canada did the same thing with Japanese Canadians in World War II. I actually didn't know that. That's interesting.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I didn't know that either, but it's not shocking, because that was a long time ago. It was 80 years ago. So, I mean,
and there's correct me if I'm wrong, there's a lot of Japanese and Korean in Ontario. Is there not?
I couldn't tell you. No.
I'm pretty sure
there is. The demographics.
No, it's I thought it's mostly in British Columbia.
Okay.
Because of the proximity to the Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
But yeah, it Ken can espouse, since he is the resident Canadian on the panel, if you will.
Right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that that they're using the platform to say these things, which is just hateful, ignorant things about innocent people. I wouldn't want to be lumped in with, anything that my government did that I've had nothing to do with. I don't want to be, if I'm working overseas, I don't want to be, threatened and harassed and kicked out of the country for something, whoever the president is at the time decides to do to another country. I had nothing to do with that. So it's just it's dumb, just a dumb thing to say.
Ken Morris says, bingo, Bill. British Columbia is correct. So yeah,
Okay.
that makes way more sense. Yep. So we
Thank
got
you for
rapid fire.
validating.
We got rapid fire tidbits from around the NHL, but we're going to call it from around the hockey world. And I'm going to skip the first one here. We can go back to that one, boys, while we're on this topic. Jokerit of Finland and Dynamo Riga of Latvia dropped from the KHL amid the invasion of Ukraine. I saw a very interesting, they had a little panel discussion about this on TSN, and Chris Johnston, this is a direct quote from his. He says, quote, "One agent over there told me that his agent that had his money stored in rubles has basically seen that amount of money decrease by half because of the currency's instability. Some are wondering about the long-term viability of the KHL. They got the playoffs going, but there's a lot of wreckage around those playoffs." So, yeah, I mean, it's really, and again, it's hard to compare how Europe runs their sports leagues to the US. But think of it this way, this is probably the best comparison we could make. 16 teams in the NHL make the playoffs, and all of a sudden Toronto and Montreal are just like, we don't like the way US is doing things. We're going to drop out the NHL playoffs. We're just not going to play. That's pretty fucking crazy.
You mentioned the Russian ruble dropping in value tremendously. Did you know the Russian ruble is now worth less than the Robux video game currency? My son plays Roblox, right? And they have current in-game currency called Robux, and apparently Robux is now worth more than the Russian ruble.
That's ridiculous. But
according
hilarious.
to PC World. According to PC World, that was a article that came out 4 or 5 days ago.
What was the Sims money? Is the Sims money more expensive now?
I don't know. I haven't played the Sims in God knows how long.
Is that what those were called?
Simoleon. It's
That's funny.
Simoleon.
Yeah,
that's funny. I like that.
And players throughout the KHL who are not of Russian descent are looking to break from their contracts. From the same little panel, I saw them talking about some prominent players in the league and former NHLers, including Shane Prince, Jeff Platt, and Nick Shore. Again, prominent players in the KHL, former NHL players, are basically saying, "Get me the fuck out of here."
Yeah,
And
I think
that's
I heard
not
that
surprising.
Their agents, I think, were recommending that they do that.
Yeah,
for their own safety. So,
yep.
I mean, that's a player's decision. So, I mean, you want to do that. That's I get that completely.
Yeah, I mean, if I were in a country that was not of my descent and they were invading another country, my first thought is, well, I don't care if I have a job or not. I got to get out of here.
Well, I mean, if I'm okay, I'm American, so if I'm playing hockey in the KHL, and Russia goes to war with Ukraine, which they are, and the U.S. could conceivably enter the war at any time. I don't want to be stuck as an American over in Russia when we're at war with Russia. Fuck no, I could end up in an internment camp in a country that could do that at the drop of a hat. So
yeah, get out now. Yep. Anything else on Russia, Ukraine, boys, before we move on to the last tidbit here?
Nah, I think we've covered it pretty damn well.
I want to make sure to give you boys your platform if you want it.
Just a quick resolution. That's all. I'd love to see this to Russia, to GTFO, and the world can get on with our lives, and Russia can be sanctioned appropriately and pay for what they've done, because they're gonna pay for this. I mean, they're gonna get, their military is gonna be, they're gonna have to. I mean, whether they abide by it or not. I mean, this is, you have to strip down the military. They'll probably lose their nukes. I hope all kinds of stuff happens to them.
Well, and that's the scary thing is, like, Putin went into this knowing that, and not to get too doomsday-ish here, but knowing the sanctions he was going to face, and he still went about doing it. It really makes you a little nervous about what else he's thinking about doing after invading Ukraine. So, again, that's for another show. That's for Discord.
Are you trying to? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, trying to rationalize an irrational person, it's hard to do.
Yeah. Ken Morris says Kurt could write his great escape from a Russian gulag.
Yeah.
Keep this talk up, and you will. Hey,
Yep.
while we're doing rapid fire hockey tidbits, goalie goal.
Oh, there was a goalie goal.
Oh,
Lucas Dostal of the Ducks farm system scored against Colorado tonight.
Nice. That's awesome. I love seeing that.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
one thing,
I
man.
do too.
I don't remember who it was. I remember it was some old curmudgeon on the way back when ESPN, the last time they had hockey. And I remember some old curmudgeon on there just talking about how he hated when goalies go for the goal. And he's like, that's not their job. And I'm like, no, come on, man. It's awesome to see him try for it.
I think you're too young to use the word curmudgeon.
No.
That's an old person word, isn't it?
I'm not young. I'm an old man.
Too young to use that word. Got to be over 60 to use that word. Right?
Damn. So you're not
curmudgeon?
Even old enough to use
no,
curmudgeon.
Not even me. No.
Wow. Not even you.
Curmudgeon sounds like, I don't know, the same is people that have a kid named Melba can use the word curmudgeon.
I've used it on the show before because I've had Founders old curmudgeon and curmudgeon's wife as my beer show before.
You have an old soul though, Bill.
Old soul.
I also have an old body to go with it. It's pretty shitty.
We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that in tip-top shape because you're gonna start. No, you're gonna take up hockey with me, and you're gonna get back into it.
Yeah. Well, I've been hitting the rowing machine every morning, so
there you go.
That's my start.
That's a start.
So you're gonna row or you're gonna play hockey?
I'm gonna row myself into the rig and then crawl my way out.
They say rowing is supposed to be some of the best exercise for you.
Yeah, it's been pretty good so far and low impact on the knees, so I like it.
Yeah,
they say that about sex too.
That low impact on the knees? Not how I do it.
No, well, that's a different story. You said it's a great workout. It is a great workout, but I've never had it. Goodness.
Let's go off the rail at the end here.
Yeah, right.
So the best shit is always right at the end.
Yeah, so us going off the rails is just as surprising as the Blackhawks naming their new GM. He's the 10th GM in franchise history. Guys, he's new to the franchise, was not around in 2010. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm reading that wrong. He was an interim GM, joined the Hawks as an operations intern in 2010. Has also worked as a video analyst. What's that?
Everyone's gone, right? Wasn't everybody gone?
Yeah, everyone's gone from 2010.
That was the thing. Everyone's gone.
Has also worked as video analyst, hockey operations manager, and assistant GM. Eddie Olczyk, Marian Hossa, and Patrick Sharp, assisted by CEO Danny Wartz and president of business operations Jamie Faulkner, spearheaded the team's GM search. We make jokes. He was an intern in 2010. I don't want to demonize this guy before he gets the job, but it is just funny to see, like, we're going to change our culture. Everything's changing. But this guy's been with us since 2010, so we're going to hire him.
I mean, it's the Blackhawks, man. I think the writing's on the wall here that they just ain't going to change. I mean, anything that if you think they're changing, I think it's all like surface change. Nothing. I mean, it's going to take a lot of effort and a long time before you convince me that they're actually deep rooted in this effort to change, because they've stumbled all over themselves after the Kyle Beach thing, during the Kyle Beach thing, and ever since, even after it came out, they've tripped and stumbled when they could have easily. It's so easy to do the right thing and say the right thing and they just haven't. Time and time again, they've screwed up, botched up, and it's like, okay, they're just not going to change. They're not gonna. I mean, they'll put makeup on a pig, right? They'll put makeup on a pig.
Yep. Yeah, it's and again, I feel bad because this kid clearly, I mean, I almost all but guarantee he had no idea what was going on in the Kyle Beach situation, but it's just not a good look when you're like, we're going to bring in these 3 guys who are going to help us find a new GM to change the culture of this franchise. But it's a guy who's been there for 12 years.
Right down the hall. That's the guy I found.
Right down the hall.
Right down the hall.
He was already GM because he had the interim tag after Stan Bowman stepped aside. It's a bad look. I wish the best for this kid. I say kid. I don't know how old he is, but I know he looks young. I wish him the best, and I hope he brings in a new culture to the Blackhawks. But it's not a good look.
Their vast, extensive search, they came up with the guy that was right there.
The guy that was sitting right.
The guy that
right down the hall.
They could have hired me to do an exhaustive search, and I could have picked that guy.
Oh, you mean the guy that has a job right now? Yeah, okay, let's go with that.
The acting GM right now, sure, and he's right down the hall. Oh yeah, he's good enough. He's fine.
Yeah.
You already got a guy. Get him. Just keep him.
He seems cool. I had a beer with him the other night. He was fun.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny to laugh at the Hawks over a situation that's not funny, I guess, but it's because it's the Blackhawks, right? You hate the Blackhawks, sports rivalry wise. It's just a shame that real life. It's just sad that they can't get this right. Like you said, Jeff, not saying this guy's not right, but it's just kind of comical in a sad way.
Mm-hmm. Well, anything else, boys?
Nope.
Lots of chatter in the YouTube chat tonight. Like I said, I did not have Facebook open, so I'm not sure if there's anything over there. But thanks everybody for participating. Always fun. Always have a good time. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockinthatidlife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. Also by Center Ice Brewery, which provides drinks brewed in our fair city and is available throughout the city at numerous grocery stores, liquor stores, and bars, including at Enterprise Center. Visit centericebrewery.com to find a vendor near you. That's centericebrewery.com. Click to say you're 21 at the beginning, and there's a link at the top, I think, that says something about where you can find our beer. That will do it for episode 25 of season 10 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. Cheers to all of you, and cheers to all our podcasting audience as well. For Kurt Price and Bill Day, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available. A look at sport. I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again.